not many women have, what's the best way I can put it? The relationships that are strong enough to withstand tough times, you know? And for all of us to be able to go through this journey with her, and for all of us to be able to come and we can just laugh and still, you know, laugh, pray, you know, talk about it. It's just, you know, it's a really good thing.
So I met Crystal close to 20 years ago now, and our paths crossed, and we became instant friends. I could tell that Crystal was someone that 20 years ago, you know, taking a journey in life, of course, much younger and, you know, growing and maturing. And Crystal always seemed to have wisdom to share with me. So it was instant for us. She had children that I fell in love with and spent a lot of time with them and a lot of time at their schools. And we just, you know, we did things as a family, just right off the cuff.
Crystal is very much a leader, very much a people person. And so she was always ambitious, always seeking higher opportunities in terms of her job, and she made that known to the people that were around her. She surrounded herself with like-minded people that were not only professional in nature, but also ambitious. Fun-loving at the same time, and then also people that had strong faith, because she's always had that.
Crystal and I are what you would call lifelong friends. We met in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, years ago. In high school, we both attended St. Peter and Paul Catholic High School, and we were cheerleaders together. We were in the Girl Scouts together, and I was what you would say her big sister, and we would always hang out. When I got my driver's license, you know, I was the mode of transportation since I'm a little bit older, and we would go to the high school dances, to the games, everything together. And she and I clicked as soon as we met, and we've just been friends ever since. And I would say more like sisters, actually. And truth be told, she was probably one of the reasons that when I agreed to move to Atlanta with my now husband, the decision was easier to come to Atlanta because I knew she was here.
20 years ago, I made a decision to move to Atlanta. At the time, I was teaching in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And one of Crystal's friends from college, FAMU, she worked with me at William Dandy Middle School. And she said, "You're moving to Atlanta. I definitely want to connect you with my girlfriend, Crystal. She's in Atlanta." We exchanged numbers, and I moved here in June of 2000. Upon moving, I contacted Crystal, and we connected. Our daughters were around the same age. They were 5, and the rest is history. We've been friends ever since.
Crystal and I met in the early part of the 90s. She joined us at Georgia Federal Bank. And she was a spitfire. Oh my goodness. When she started working with us in our department, we was like, who is this and where did she come from? We embraced her really as our little sister, because I think Crystal and I might be about 5 or 6 years apart. So we really did embrace her, and over the years, through her ups and downs and everything else, I consider Crystal like a sister. I don't even consider her a friend. I consider her one of my sisters, and it's such a joy that the Lord brought us together in our lives.
For me, that moment when I got the call from her, it was very devastating. And I remember I was at work, and I had to take some time to really pull myself together, because immediately my thought was, how could this possibly be true? There's no way this could be true. Because of Crystal's background and her mom having the cancer as well, she was considered high risk. So she always had her mammograms, always had her checkups. And to think that with getting routine checkups, she discovered this, the lump on her own by doing her own self breast exam. So all of that was playing through my mind when she told me. And I just was crushed because immediately my mind went to her mom. And I had to take some time and pull myself together because I didn't want her to see me or to hear me falling apart and starting to get emotional. So I tried to play it off as best as I can, and we ended the conversation. And I just sat in my office and I just cried and cried and cried.
I think Crystal actually called me, and I think I was at home, and she told me, and kind of like Michelle, I was just like, what? What are you talking about? Breast cancer? What, you know? And of course, I went back to her mom because I knew her mother had passed away from breast cancer as well. And she was just like, she was so calm. And of course, I was trying to be calm with her. And she was like, I'm going to get through this. You know, I'm just believing in God that He's going to see me through this and we're going to be fine. And of course, you know, I immediately kicked into, you know, what do I need to do? What do you want me to do? Do I need to come over? Whatever. And she was like, I'm good. I'm good. We're going to get through this. And I was like, where does this girl get this faith from? Oh my gosh. Because I was really trying to stay strong for her because I was breaking down minute by minute. And but just me knowing Crystal, I knew that she was going to fight it like a champion. I mean, the things that had occurred in her life prior to this, she just took it, prayed about it, and kept it moving. So I had no doubt in my mind that she wasn't going to get through it. But just through it all, she was so strong. She kept me strong, and I wasn't even going through it, you know. So, but that's basically, she called me at home, and we just, you know, prayed about it.
Crystal called me to share the news. I can't recall the exact details, but what stands to mind throughout her entire journey is the strength that Crystal had. Never breaking down, never losing faith, never questioning God, never expressing anger or, you know, any ill feelings, just always trusting and knowing that, you know, God is in control. This is going to be okay. We're going to be fine. And I can recall going through moments and times, and I consider myself to be strong. And Crystal would definitely be in my top 5 of women who exhibit strength and faith and just through it all, you know, she just persevered. You know, she continued to be a loving mom, a wife, and just really, really working hard to support her family and be a testimony. So it was difficult. It was a journey, but I'm just happy that I was able to see it, because when you see someone go through things like that other people crumble under pressure and they give up and they turn their backs on God and question, why is this happening to me? I saw someone, you know, push through, gave God the glory and praise through it all. Through the darkest moments, she was still able to praise God, and God honored her faith, and that's why we're here today to celebrate her life. And this is a testimony that others will hear and see and know that it doesn't matter what it looks like. You know, if He did it for Crystal, He can do it for you.
Crystal was really the first time that I have had cancer up front, for, you know, just up front and personal. So I really did not know and really understand the magnitude at that point of going to the doctor and really getting a diagnosis of stage 2. And replaying everything back now from the landing, and you just kind of think it's nothing. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. It's okay. And that's really what I walked away with that day. I was like, it's going to be fine. And when I can't recall, because it's been some time ago, the initial doctor appointment, I just remember after that, and just as everyone has said, Crystal's faith was so strong from hearing it come off of the doctor's lips. She was like, I'm going to be fine. And throughout her entire journey, because I know there had been times when I doubted. I was just like, this is how is she going, how is she going to go through this? And her faith was much stronger. But she stood on the word, which Crystal does to this very day. She stands on his word. And she survived. And she is here with her testimony. And we are all here just knowing that there is life at the other end of the diagnosis.
The incident really that struck home for me was her hair started to fall out. And she decided she was just gonna cut it all off. And so our cousin, also from St. Thomas, she came over. She told Crystal, I'll take care of it for you. And so she sat there in the chair and she cut, and then she started shaving. And that experience where Crystal was sitting there just as calm as usual. But I looked at Kiara, her oldest daughter, and the look on Kiara's face, and for me, that's what struck home for me. And I think that's what I needed to put things in perspective. And I was like, okay, now I have to be there for her, because I looked at her daughter's face and it was a combination of shock and then fear. And, in addition to Kiara, I know that the two other kids. So I said, I have to be there for her, and I have to be stronger than what I am. It's like, Michelle, you got to put the baby stuff aside. But in that instant when all that hair just started coming off, that did it for me.
That was so funny with the hair, because Michelle had bought Crystal some very expensive wigs.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, it ain't hot.
It is hot.
And I was like, I'm just going to wear my bald head. I'm just going to wear a baseball hat. I said, well, Chris, Michelle spent a lot of money on the wigs. She was like, I know, and I'm sorry. I ain't telling her to order them. I was like,
she said, they keep me too hot.
They're too hot. I don't want them things on my head.
And if she was comfortable around you, she would whip their wig off and put it down. I remember she came over to my house, and my son was 3 at the time, and he was shocked, to be honest. He said, Auntie Peaches took her hair off. Mommy, what happened? She doesn't have any hair. But if she was comfortable around you, she would whip that wig off in a heartbeat. She's talking about, it's too hot. It keeps me too hot.
She got to the point, she didn't even wear the wigs anymore.
It's just a scarf.
She was good. She'd go out with her ball. She's like, I don't care. She's like, this is what's going on with me. I ain't wearing that wig. I was like, oh, okay, well, Michelle go get you. I knew that she had such a strong support system that among all of us, we wasn't even going to let her fail or whatever.
The thing for us is that we all come from different walks of life, but the common thread between us, Crystal is the common bond for us. And the 24 hours a day is what she really needed during the time. So you have a support system of people that are reliable or trustworthy. I mean, there are times when, taking the kids to and from school or homework or having to deal with an issue at school or something, we really had to do those things for her. So personal affairs, just day to day, you think about your day to day routines and you say, if I can't do these things, who do I have in my corner that I know is going to be able to take care of these things for me? And that's where I believe having a sister circle is one of the most important things that a woman can have. I think sometimes I feel so sad for people who don't have that, but I see just within all of us, like we all love Crystal, but outside, even if you took Crystal out of the equation, I can pick up the phone and I can call any one of them. And same here. We all truly, genuinely love each other. And we know that life happens. And when it happens, you can have no control over it. And it can stop. So what happens now? What happens now is I have to call my girls. And we got to get it together. Yeah. We have to all, like you said, the saying is what, man up. And that's what we have to do. It's like, man up. It's really like, it's time. We are on deck. And that's what we had to do. So I was on the going to the doctor appointments. That was my, that was my job. It was doctor appointments for chemo treatment and her radiation. And we went to every appointment for, you sit and someone who has time. That's another thing, because just sit with the laptop or sit with a book. And when she was ready to go, I knew that, okay, she's not going to be feeling the best. So the game plan is somebody's on food committee, so I don't even have to worry about that because they know. The last thing is, don't put Adrian in charge of the food committee. Like Nancy said, she don't clean up. Don't put me on food.
You gotta know your strengths.
You gotta know your strengths. Don't come in thinking you a cowgirl. Just go ahead and you know your strengths. Right. And we all knew what we could do. We all knew. So.
Hearing my story through my sister circle, and we've been calling it that for years, has just enlightened me on how much I'm loved. And I so very appreciate my sisters that are here with me because they have truly been through the test of time in all of my life journey. And I can't thank them enough. That's why I wanted to include them with this opportunity. My life has been a journey, but from everything that they've said, they talked about hope and faith and perseverance and just being resilient. And with so much going on in today's world, those are key characteristics. So it just warms my heart that I still have them in my life after so many years of knowing them personally. My name is Crystal Wire Doherty. In September of 2006, I was in the midst of traveling for 2 weeks in a row, and I came home and discovered that I had a lump in my breast by doing my self-breast exam. In October, I went to the doctor and went through a series of tests, including a mammogram as well as a biopsy, and got a diagnosis that I had a malignant tumor. I was being diagnosed with breast cancer. In 1989, I was attending Florida A&M University, and I went home for Christmas break. It was a very unique Christmas because every year that I went home, my mom was very active. We did a lot of activities. She would also bake me a cake to fly back to school with because my birthday is January 5th. And that particular Christmas, I did not get my cake, and she was not acting like herself. A few weeks later, I learned that she actually flew out to Oral Roberts University Hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And back then, parents didn't share a lot. A child stayed in a kid's place and they didn't feel they have to share. So I was told that she had a procedure that she was going out there for and everything would be fine. After she could not give me a date as to when she was going to return home, and I started pressing, asking for answers, my stepfather called me and shared the news. Your mom has breast cancer. It didn't hit me right then on the phone. It actually hit me later on in the day. And I'm so thankful for HBCUs. I had family at FAMU. I will never forget, and may he rest in peace, Colonel Bernard Hendricks. He was over our student affairs, and his secretary, Novella Brown. They took me in. They made sure I had a ticket to fly to Tulsa to go and check on my mom. A couple months later, I had an internship in Denver, Colorado, actually Golden, Colorado. And my mom came out to visit, and she had some equipment that she still had to use. Colorado is a high altitude place, so there wasn't much that we could do, and it really hit me then what she had been dealing with. However, we had to celebrate because although she was on an equipment, there was no more traces of cancer. In September of 1989, she was home in the Virgin Islands. She returned back home to the Virgin Islands, got clearance, and Hurricane Hugo hit, and our lives changed forever. She was unable to get medical attention, unable to fly off of the island because of the state of the hurricane. And I received the call in October that she went back to Oral Roberts University Hospital. And we kept hoping and believing that everything was gonna be okay. She beat it once. But usually, when cancer recurs, it comes back with a vengeance. And I remember being at work after school that evening in December when I received the phone call December 7th of 1989, and my life changed forever. My mom lost the battle, and she transitioned home to be with her Lord and Savior. I was in the break room. We didn't have cell phones then. I just happened to call my home to check the voicemails, and I had over 20 missed calls, 20 voicemails. My grandmother, my cousin, who was more like my brother, my stepfather, all trying to get a hold of me to deliver the news that Mom passed on. I was wrecked. I was a senior in college, taking a full load, trying to graduate. And that was the one thing she always said to me. Education was huge for her. And she said, I cannot wait to see you walk across that stage when you graduate college. Needless to say, the next couple of months, January through April, were the hardest months I've ever had to endure. And to walk across that stage and have everyone there with their family and friends, and my mom was not there, changed my life. My maternal grandmother was able to come, and my stepfather was able to come. And so that brought me some comfort, but it was very hard. Fast forward, I was considered high risk. So where the doctors are saying we don't need to do mammograms until we're 40, You have to be your own advocate. You have to insist that you get checked. Sometimes it may require you to pay out of pocket, but that is something that you need to do. So I was tested every year at an early age. I was 21 when Mom passed. They started testing me at 25. It's not until you go through a journey that you realize the things that you get upset about are trivial. Sometimes you just have to take a deep breath and let things go and determine what battles you need to fight. And my faith has taught me to just put it down and trust. Trust in God. Don't grow weary in well-doing. Stay focused. What's the end goal? I remember saying to the person that delivered the news, okay. She was like, okay. I said, yeah, my God has this. I said, I've been praying for so many years. Lord, please don't allow the same thing that my mom went through to happen to me. And I realized then He chose me. So I knew there was a good reason He wanted me to go through this journey. As I stated, I had been looking for purpose. There was something greater that He had for me to do. And so I had to go through the process so that I could get to greater. And I feel like today I'm starting to fulfill that very purpose. Some people you expect to be there for you, and some people can't handle the diagnosis. And it's okay. If you really care about them, you let them go. The one thing that I would not stand for was anyone in my presence that uttered the words, "Cancer kills," or that I could die. No negative talk entered my house, my room, or my presence. I would quickly shut you up and let you know this diagnosis is not unto death. I had already made up in my mind I had to fight this, and I had it. I love people, and if you're in my circle, I take care of you. And I want to see the people that are in my family do well. I consider them my family. And I knew that that would be news that could devastate. So I was actually prepared, because in searching for my purpose and that balance, I have to say thank you to my First Lady, Elder Vanessa Long. She has a class called Women on the Path at the church that I attend, Newburgh Missionary Baptist Church. I've been there 23 years under the leadership of Bishop Eddie Long as well as Elder Vanessa Long. And that class taught me how to be the woman I am today. I always thought that I would have my mom around after college. So during high school, I was busy. I was cheerleader, yearbook editor, senior class president. I did it all. And I always said, yeah, when I graduate college, Mom and I will have plenty of time together. And that never happened. So you should never, ever take your family for granted. Never take them for granted. So I went through that class, Women on the Path. It helped to define my womanhood. Things I should do, shouldn't do as a wife, as a mother, as a woman, and to stand on the word, to continue to build my faith. And it was shortly after I went through that class that I got the diagnosis. So I was equipped and armored to withstand the battle. And that way, even in that class, we learn how to treat other women. Because sometimes we aren't nice to each other. All of that equipped me to be able to stand for my sisters and stand with them and help them through my diagnosis. Everything that I thought was a problem, I can brush it off. I can go through so many things and still smile every single day because I have health. I have life. I have strength. I have courage. I'm brave. I'm determined. I'm resilient. I am who I say I am. The small things don't matter. You know, for the husbands and wives that's out here fighting about trivial things, let it go. Learn to understand each other's language and needs so that you can be who you are to be to each other. I learned in my personality not to be so high-strung. Take each day as it comes and it goes. Life is precious. Losing my mom through the journey taught me to enjoy time with your loved ones. Tomorrow is not promised. Today is not promised. You can't even worry about tomorrow. You have to make sure you make it through this day, this moment, right here, right now. And I would say I'm just a calmer, more loving, caring, more aware, more astute person than I've been in the past. My mission is to empower and educate others that prevention is key. We hear about early detection all the time, but my mission is prevention. What you don't know, you don't know. And there are so many things. For example, we live here in Smyrna. There's been all this stuff in the news about the company Styrogenics having chemicals in the air. We're breathing in those chemicals. We have to stop being so concerned about the little things going on around us and be more focused on ourselves, our health. So my mission is to really educate, empower, and I think once we do that, we could help eradicate this disease. It's dreadful. Statistics say 1 in 8 women will die of breast cancer. We can make a change today. Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Maybe we just start off with 15 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be you going to the gym. It could be in your living room. It could be walking around the subdivision. Ever so often, we get out and we start walking the subdivision, trying to get a little bit of exercise, getting your vitamin D, getting out in the sun, not just being in the house. But my mission is to help others not have to deal with what we dealt with, because it doesn't impact just you. There's so many others in your family, your loved ones, your family, and your friends that will end up being quote unquote inconvenienced because of not making better choices. Some of it is genetic, but for those that are diagnosed because of other reasons, whether it be stress, we have to learn to just exhale and live life fully. Enjoy life. I think a lot of your survival is your mindset. If you remain positive and believe and trust and know that you can, you can. It's all about what you speak. I tell people all the time that Your words are powerful. It's in the word. You have to speak positive things and expect positive results. If you speak negative, you'll get negative.
Crystal was always strong. When I think of Crystal, I think of strength, and she exhibited that from the beginning all the way until the end. So as I checked in, and I can recall speaking with her, there was never any doubt. She praised her way through. She quoted scriptures in conversation. She just always had uplifting words about her diagnosis and just believing that God would get the victory. So in the end, I was happy to hear, but in walking with Crystal throughout, I never doubted. I never felt like this isn't going well. I believed with her, and it only takes two to agree, and it will be so. So I believed, and I knew it would be a part of her testimony. So when we got to the end, and I can see her joy and her excitement and celebrating, and she always wanted to celebrate because she knew she had won, but she knew she got there through God's grace and just allowing her to get through the end. So she didn't give the doctors credit at all. She always believed in, God's powers. So it's a good feeling when you have faith and you know that there will be victory after this. So when we got to the victory point, it was definitely a celebration of faith and happiness to see what could have ended in many different ways, ended with a positive note. And we're here today to celebrate and also look back and help other people who may be going through the journey and may not be as strong as a Crystal. But it starts with having faith and taking a step to know that this isn't the end. It's the beginning of a journey. It's a process, and you have to be willing to go through that process, and it will require faith.
I have to say thank you to each and every person that came through during that time, whether it was bringing me a book to read, making sure I had food, whatever you did. I had some that traveled. My father's wife, my stepmom, traveled from New York to come and spend time with me, help take care of me and the kids. But the girlfriends that were here today, they have been in my life. And to this day, even if we don't talk every single day or every week, when we do talk, we pick up like we never left off. I cannot thank them enough. And I tell them that all the time. They've been with me through all of life's difficulties. Not only do I want to thank my sister circle for being there for me and my children, but I have to say thank you so much to 3 beautiful, amazing children. Kiara is my oldest. She is now 25. She's a thriving entrepreneur. My son, Keenan, who is 21. And my youngest daughter, Chanel, who is 17. And she's a handful. She is the new senior class president of 2020 at her school. She too is a budding entrepreneur, as well as my son. So God has blessed me with 3 amazing kids. I kept telling them through the journey we would make it through. And at times they didn't know how, but we did it. And I'm so, so thankful that I have you in my life and that you were able to share this journey with me. And I know it will make you great and compassionate adults. Hope, perseverance, trust, belief, and faith. That is the recipe for winning, thriving, overcoming. Don't just survive, thrive.